Hey guys, Sticks here again, and today I'm going to be doing kind of a combo chill type of video, not something I usually do. It's going to be a combo kind of apology clarification video, my favorite hero video for the new content creators event in Mythic Heroes, and it will be a quick little review of the new hero that's just been added to the game, Morrigan. So, I want to start this off by saying, for those of you who have seen or have known about my tier list videos, you might know, you might not know that I have received some less than constructive comments on them, and they all pertained to one particular fact, and that's that all of the tier list videos, all of that is just my opinion. That is not fact. I'm not trying to tell you how to play the game. I'm telling you what I have experienced so far as a player of my level where I'm at currently in the game. And that should not influence the entire way that you play the game. Everything should be your decision. I just want to give you my personal thoughts, my personal views, and what I've seen, and you can take it for what it is, take it with a grain of salt, do whatever, come to your own conclusions. This is just my opinion, just what I'm thinking. So, I will be more mindful in the future of putting that kind of disclaimer over any of those kinds of videos, because there was some controversy on it online, and so I wanted to clear that up for you. So there you go. If there's anything else you have beef with, if you want to say so, please do it respectfully. That's all I ask, is a respectful, open environment. And yeah, just feel free to be vocal, but do it nicely, please. So secondly, I'm actually going to go into the Morrigan review right now. So we have the event going on right now, and I've actually purchased the 7-day check-in event because I think she is, from just a precursory glance, very, very good. Her ultimate removes the ability to obtain health in any form for 7 seconds. That's pretty good. That can easily turn the tide of a battle. Her first active here is she has 3 eyeballs. Each of them deals 180% of her attack and damage as a beam across the field with a different color, and each of them will inflict a different kind of effect. One of them is silenced, so they can't use active skills. One is imprisoned, so they can't move or use auto attacks, and one is terrorized, so they can't release their ultimate, and that lasts for 5 seconds. So she's kind of like a mini Odin in that way, although not as consistent. And I think that's actually really, really good. Each and every single one of these can do huge things in a battle. So next we have her Meet Fate, which is her second active. At the beginning of the battle, she'll choose a random fighter or mage backline. So if you want to have a specific hero be targeted by her, you want to have only one fighter or mage in the backline. You can't have one of either. That will make it a 50-50 shot. If you want it to be as consistent as possible, just have one DPS that is either a fighter or a mage in the back row, and she will affect that particular target. So instead of dying when they would die, instead they enter a quote-unquote near-death state for 8 seconds. And in that time, they can't die, and they can't be targeted for an attack. But after the 8 seconds, they do die. And then for the duration, it increases the attack of the hero that's in that near-death state by 30%. So it buffs and is kind of like a mini revive, and that actually gets better when you go into her iconic weapon, which I'll get into in just a second. And then her one passive, Circle of Doom, is actually a self-protection passive and a team buff and heal passive. This is just nuts. So whenever she drops below 50% health, she turns into a raven and flies away for 4 seconds. When that happens, she removes all of her debuffs, heals for 25%, heals all allies for 60% of her attack every second for those 4 seconds, and then it can't be triggered again for 20 seconds, but that decreases to 16 once you get it up to level 4. She also gets 120 energy after turning into the Raven, and she can increase that heal to 70%. So all of that, everything that I'm seeing in her base kit is already very, very good, but it got so much better when I actually looked at what her iconic weapon does, and I can show you that in just a second here once I find her. So I was working on building her up to begin with because, good lord, I really like the direction they went with this hero. But if you read this, Meet Fate is the revive one. So it's the one that makes a hero enter a near-death state. And if they were to kill an opponent during that state, instead they don't die. And once you get it all the way up, they are revived with 100% health if they kill an enemy in that time. 100%. I don't know about you, that seems like Iset, but better. And that's an active. That's not even the ultimate. So is this power creep? Is this not as good as I'm thinking it is? What's going on? There's clearly something enormously important about this hero moving forward. And then also, if any of your heroes kill any of the enemy heroes while she has her ultimate up, which is the one that blocks their healing, she gives your entire team 15% attack for 7 seconds, I think it said. For 5 seconds. So she buffs your team, she heals your team, she revives your team, and she debuffs the enemy team significantly. I think overall, as a support, just from what I can see, precursorily, it's shocking. I'll have to test out her ability, but honestly, my guess is that she's going to shake up the meta. Like, she seems very, very, very good. But yeah, actually that transitions perfectly into the other part of this video, which is the My Favorite Heroes portion for the Content Creators event for Mythic Heroes. So at this point, even though she was literally just introduced, I think Morrigan is up there in my favorites. And just a little disclaimer about this part, I am kind of a sucker for power. And so the next one I'll be mentioning is Nobunaga. You know, literally the best DPS in the game. He has an interesting skill set where his ultimate doesn't actually do damage, but it gives all of his other abilities and his auto attack such stupid damage, and it provides him with a little bit of survivability at the same time. And I think even though he's a new addition, people have been like racing to build him up, and I think it's very clear why. And because of that, and also, I mean, let's be honest, his design is pretty cool. All of that combined just makes him one of my favorites out there. Next, I want to say Iset. I do generally like Iset as a hero. I think her skill set's pretty fun just to even read. She revives, she heals, she buffs, and the way she does it is unique to her and her alone. And I think that's pretty cool. I also think she's good. And so, yeah, another UR, I know, I'm expensive taste, whatever. But I do like her as a hero, and I think she definitely has a place in many different types of content and gets better with age. Moving on, though, Marduk, I gotta give it to my boy Marduk. He was genuinely my favorite hero for like a couple weeks. When I first realized that he actually had real capabilities in a defensive team. Like, oh, he doesn't die. He doesn't want to die. He refuses to die. And I've been working on leveling him up consistently as much as I can, whenever I can. It's not the easiest thing in the world, but, you know, I'm working on it. The biggest thing right now is Ascension and then Enhancement, of course, but I also have to save some for Morrigan eventually. So, but yeah, he's one of my favorites. He can insta-kill some enemies, but that's not really what he's designed for. What he's designed for is Warlord form, never die. So I think he's very, very good. I actually do like Poseidon. I don't think he's one of my favorites, but I like him as a hero. I think he does well. But I kind of want to move on to Faust right now, because he is also one of my favorites. Like, he has a similar kind of teleport thing to Susanoo, except at the beginning he doesn't go to an enemy, he replaces that enemy. So suddenly they're in the middle of the fight and they can't do anything necessarily, right? And so if you're on an attacking team, you can position him intelligently, and suddenly their entire team's crippled. And his damage on his ultimate is, from what I've seen, monstrous. And if he can release that multiple times in a battle, oh boy, he can do a lot. And so I'm kind of working on leveling him up as well over time. Another Shadow Arc, so I really need to be careful about where I use my enhancements. But yeah, I think he's definitely up there in my favorites list. I'm actually starting to really like Hades. I think he's growing on me quite a bit. Um, the summon is kind of fine, but honestly, I think it's his ultimate. His ultimate kind of makes me happy to read. I don't know why. So they can't recover any health. They're kind of just stuck outside the battle for a second. It reminds me of um, like if someone's about to get Vecna'd in Stranger Things, if you've seen that, where kind of they're just ripped out of reality and suddenly they're in a dark place where they can't escape, and then they can just die. And I don't know. That just seems like a really cool thing. I like his design. I think overall he's just a really cool, really fun, and good hero. And I think I rated him a little bit too low on my tier lists in retrospect. So yeah, Hela I like as a healer. She's the Shadow Arc healer. Although Morrigan is now coming up, she's not as much of a healer. She's more of a support. But nonetheless, I do like Hela. I don't think she's on the top though. um, I can't say Lilith. Okay, so let me get something straight. I adore the design for Lilith. I just don't like how she performs. I was on pure hopium when I built her because I was really, really wanting her to do something cool because she looked so cool. And sometimes she does just pop an ultimate and suddenly the entire enemy team's dead. But she's not consistent enough for actual gameplay. I just really like her design. And the duality is kind of cool, so I think she's up there. Maybe not in the very top, but... And then Naga and Idun, I actually like Naga more these days because she's a newer healer for me. So I'm not so used to her playstyle, and I think it's kind of refreshing after using Idun for so long that she does so much actual like shield healing and such. Also, this skin, dope. That dragon, whenever it pops off, I'm like, I feel like a badass. I feel great. That's really cool. So yeah, I think as a healer, she's very, very good. Design, very, very cool. One of my favorites at this point in the game. So, Susano has kind of faded out for me, honestly. Like he's cool. I wouldn't consider him necessarily my favorite, but he hasn't been as useful lately. His design's very cool. I still use him as my profile picture with this skin, but I don't know, not my favorite at this point. There was a time where Western Queen was like way up there in my mind, and then I realized, probably not. Odin's kind of fine. Typhon I actually really like. Now, I was alerted by one of my guildmates recently that in their experience, and they are higher level than me, by the way, that in their experience, they've found that Typhon is mediocre at best. I'm not sure I agree, just given what I've seen and what I've tested with him, but that's okay. Formulate your own opinion, as I said. Yeah, I just think his design is probably my favorite in the game. He's just so cool looking. I'm waiting for him to get a skin because I want to see him like red style. That would be so cool. I really like how solid he looks being a tank with, 519,000 defense. And yeah, I think he's just really cool, really fun. And I like the idea of his ultimate giving a bunch of buffs, but then taking away a little bit of health. That's just kind of cool for me. So, yeah. Loki is pretty cool. I like his design a lot too. His damage is very, very good. He doesn't have the most consistent ultimate ever because, again, he can just bounce around and then not kill enemies. When they're on like 1 health, he'll just leave them and go to the next one, and that's kind of dumb. But he survives for a long time. He does a lot of damage, and in boss fights, he does very well. I like him. That's why I built him up. I remember when he first came out, I was like, he's probably going to be pretty good, and then he eventually was, and then was quickly overshadowed, so almost nobody uses him in PvP anymore. So be it, but Lucifer, I don't want to call him my favorite hero at all, but he's up there. He's like, were it not for the skin, he would not be. But like, let's be honest. So this is the base skin. If you have Lucifer, you probably have this skin, and that's cool and all. But come on, that is awesome. I spent a lot on this skin. I have a lot invested into the character. I think the model, the design for this particular skin is outrageously good. And if I can click enough, he goes to dark form with black and red. That's literally my favorite color combo on the planet. You know how cool that is to me? That's just so awesome. He's carried me through the entire late game thus far. He does good damage. He looks awesome. And yeah, overall, he's as far as character models go, character design, this skin takes the cake. Typhon is probably second, but that makes him my favorite in design, not necessarily my favorite overall. But yeah, so that's kind of what I wanted to go over with you guys. I hope it wasn't too lackluster for you, not so boring, you know, because that's a little bit of a worry. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to give give a little bit of an update, my thoughts, and do this for the Content Creators event. I hope you guys all enjoyed. And if you want me to do more chill stuff like this, feel free to let me know. If you have any constructive criticism or different opinions, different thoughts, whatever in the comments, feel free to go ahead and say anything. I will respond to each and every one of you within, you know, realistic limits. Feel free to leave a like if you did enjoy this and you want to see more stuff about this game, because I will be posting more. And subscribe, same deal, if you want to see more from me like this. So thank you all so much for tuning in, and I'll see you whenever I do another one of these.